this was such an incredible transformation. I just wondered, what was that process like? Because when you're watching, you completely forget that you're watching Margot Robbie.
Thank
So
you.
what was the training like? What were the biggest challenges?
It was a long process. I did a lot of preparation, both physically and research-wise. There's an incredible amount of source material online in documentary form and interviews and things like that, both from around the time that she was at her skating peak right through to the incident, but also like later in life, and also when there's a documentary made when she was 15. So I played Tonya in the film from 15 to 44, and to be able to actually map out that journey from seeing her in documentaries when she was 15 to up until modern day was really, really helpful and really, really interesting. And there was obviously the skating side of it, which was very extensive. And then beyond that, for the actual aesthetic look, we had obviously incredible hair, makeup, costume designers. And at the end of the day, it wasn't about replicating Tonya. It was about creating a character and embodying Tonya's spirit within that character. And I think, Craig, our director, was one of the first people to say, like, stop worrying about looking precisely like her. I mean, we wanted to give people that feeling of nostalgia who may remember the events very closely, and maybe if they knew it very well, they'll see that the costumes were identical to what they were, sequence for sequence. So we paid a lot of attention to replicate certain things in certain moments, and then sometimes we just let it all go and let the character kind of live in its own world.
And you co-produced this with your husband Tom, which some might say is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, we work really well together, actually. A lot of people, so in our production company, it's not just Tom and myself, it's two of our best friends. And we all get along very, very well. And when we started the production company, a lot of people warned us against it and said, doing business with your friends is kind of a tricky thing and it's probably going to end in disaster. And it's been quite the opposite for us. We all work really well together. We know each other inside and out, and we actually work really harmoniously together. And beyond that, we were co-producing with Clubhouse Pictures, so Brian, who we've got other producing ventures with as well. That whole team just works really well together.
Since Neighbours 10 years ago, you've become one of the biggest Hollywood stars, and Time magazine named you one of the most influential people in 2017. Does it seem like a fast journey for you, or is it still sort of surreal? Is it?
Yeah, no, it's totally surreal. It feels quick, and it feels like it's been a lifetime at the same time. It's flown, but so much has happened, and it's crazy. I feel like the good thing about this job is every time you move countries or cities or whatever, you kind of have these little bookends and these little chapters, and it's kind of cool to look back at it all, but it's very clearly divided. There was my time in Melbourne, that was my Neighbours time, and then there was my time in New York, that was Pan Am or Wolf of Wall Street. And every time you do a job, you kind of move cities as well, and it just feels like so much has happened.
Do you miss anything about the kind of struggling days?
I definitely miss having no expectations attached. That was a very liberating thing. To every audition I walked into, every meeting I walked into, everything I walked into, no one expected anything exciting to happen, or it kind of gives you that thing to really fight for. Like, no, pay attention. I'm going to do a good job. And now it's actually really scary, because when you walk into an audition or something, they're expecting something, they're expecting something based on all the things they've seen before, and I guess that scares me a little bit.
I have to ask you where you'll be for Christmas. Are you going home?
I'm going to be home, yeah.
How long since you've been there?
I haven't been back once this year. It's killed me. It's the longest I've ever gone without being at home. And I think technically I've done 5 films this year, so it's the busiest year I've ever had. And I haven't been able to go back. But I flew my mum over, my cousin and her husband are over right now. So I keep having like family come over, because I'm like, I miss everyone. And my best friend was just over here, and another friend was over here. So I've actually been seeing everyone from home this year, thank God, but I haven't been home, and I'm going crazy.
And what does the Margot Robbie Christmas look like?
It's, I've got a pretty big family, and everyone's pretty crazy, so it's very loud and it's very fun. And obviously it's hot, which everyone over here finds so bizarre that we'd spend Christmas Day like in the pool or, you know, running around outside. So yeah, just a typical Gold Coast Christmas.
Great. And now I've got the next 4 minutes because I've got 2 slots.